Hello, everybody. It's your girl Carmelita, and I want to welcome you back to another episode of Purity to Purpose YouTube channel. So, one of the things that I wanted to talk to you about, and the reason for this YouTube channel, is to be able to put visuals to some of the things that I wanted to share. So, what I wanted to share today is something that I have been talking a lot about here recently with individuals. Like, it keeps coming up. I'm not bringing it up, but people are bringing it up, or it keeps coming up in conversations. And the thing is about giving ourselves and others grace. We are so hard on ourselves. We are so hard on others. But the biggest thing is how we've been treating ourselves. I can identify with the underdog more so than I can with the person who's out there winning in life. And that's something that I think this message is going to be able to help. If you are an underdog, or if you have an underdog mentality, I want you to really lean in and pay attention. So get closer. Listen to what I'm about to say. We about to have art class. So this came from a video that I saw Steven Furtick did. Steven Furtick is a pastor, from Charlotte, North Carolina. He pastors a church called Elevation Church, and he did this video, and it was very brief, but it was after one of his sermons, and I cannot find this video. If you know this video I'm talking about, please put this video in the comments. It was like 6 or 7 years ago. But it was so powerful because at this point in time in my life, I was having a hard time with giving myself grace. So, this piece of paper here, I want to show you. So, this here signifies your life. And then we're going to look at our future versus our past. So your future, these are all the things that you want to accomplish. This is all the things that you have accomplished. So if I were to look at my past, I would think about all the things that I've overcome. I was a single mom who was going through divorce, who was taking care of her mom, who had 5 part-time jobs. I was a full-time student. I ended up graduating with 2 honor society memberships. At a couple of times in my life, I was contemplating and even attempted suicide, thinking about my relationship with God wasn't where it was. Heck, I didn't even have female friends. I had male friends, but I didn't have female friends. So I was praying and begging God to give me female friends. You know, at one point in time, I was married. My marriage wasn't the most healthy. So thinking about all of these things, they all fit into the past category. I've been through a lot. This is the future. So these are all the things that I want to accomplish. These are financial goals. These are physical goals. These are different things that I would like to have in my future. But when you look at the things from your future versus your past, oftentimes this is what we're looking at. Oftentimes, this is what we get upset about. Oh, I didn't accomplish this goal because that goal would help you to establish your future. Oh, I didn't do this one thing because this one thing, had you been able to do it, then would have gotten you closer to your future. But what about all it is? And that was the part that was the most impactful for me. He was talking about how we are so hard on ourselves, looking at all of the things that we want, how we focus on this grinding mentality. That is the age that we are in. Everybody is grinding. Everybody is trying to get the next best thing. We live in this age. My son told me the other day, y'all, I had to literally laugh out loud. He did not want me to turn his cell phone off. He was going to bed, and his cell phone was somebody was sending him a text message, and I said, "We need to turn your phone off," because he was about to go to bed, and I didn't want his phone, the notifications to wake him up. Do y'all know this child said, "I don't want you to turn my phone off." I said, "Why?" He said, because then every time I gotta turn it on, it takes a little bit for my phone to boot back up in order for me to be able to, to then start using it. Now, all of us have cell phones. No. How long does it take for your cell phone to register? Like, say, for instance, you turn your phone off, and you turn it back on. It takes like 10, 15, 20 seconds. It doesn't take long at all, people. That's my point. But we live in this society now to where we are this microwave society. Like, I told him I felt like I was dating myself, but I said, I remember whenever we used to have dial-up internet. Now we got Wi-Fi. Like, he don't know nothing about that. They have, like, all the students at his school has MacBooks. Dude, you got a MacBook. That is a required piece of equipment to take to school. They don't use pens and papers. They use MacBooks. So I'm just like, you don't know what it looks like to not have modern technology, but we are so spoiled. Even those of us who remember what that looked like, we're so spoiled. So for us to not focus on the future is hard because we live in this microwave generation that makes us think we can accomplish those things quickly. Somebody is trying to lose weight. We got modern technology that can just suck that thing on out. When you think about all the things that a person could do to work out to get there. Now, granted, don't get me wrong, I do understand that there are some people who have health concerns and things that, could prohibit you from that. Or by all means, if you got the money, then boo do you. However, we are in this society now to where we have these things that make our lives easier, that give us the quick fixes. And sometimes those quick fixes, if we don't have the ability to do them, or that's not the way that the process is working for you, then we can get down on ourselves because it's not getting us here fast enough. But my point and what I want you to do is to remember this, how far you've come. Do you see how much more? Like, your girl has been through a lot. I have accomplished a lot. I have grown a lot. Like, if you start to think about all the things, I want to challenge you. Make a list of all the things that you've done, the things that you've accomplished, the times that God has come through for you, the multiple blessings that you have had, the times whenever you was like, I didn't know if God was going to come through, but he did. Make a list. I guarantee you, this list of how far you've come is going to far outweigh the list of the things that you want to accomplish in your future. I promise you. I promise you. We do this comparison game with others, but what about with ourselves? Comparing your future self with your past self. What I call Old Testament Carmelita. Old Testament Carmelita done been through some things. I've not yet arrived at her. Now, am I getting closer? Absolutely. But as I get closer, then this thing, that line comes up. And then it might be here. And then I have all of this stuff over here, like this past area, it expands. This future decreases. Because there does come a point in your life where you have been on this earth longer than you have left. Chronologically speaking, that's just the way of the world. So, I just want you to know, focus on what you have accomplished. Give yourself pat yourself on the back. Like, good job, girl. Sometimes I have to pat myself on the back. Real talk, literally. Like, for real. Do that to yourself sometimes. I make videos to tell myself just how proud I am of me. Girl, you done came a long way. Look at what you done, girl. Like, I send myself videos sometimes whenever I am hype, when I am just to motivate myself, to remind myself of how far I've come. Sometimes I make videos whenever I'm down and out to remind me of how far I've come. Your girl loves journals. I got journals galore that talk about how far I've come. Sometimes I be reading them journal entries like, girl. No, we ain't even gonna go there, y'all. Let me just tell you, I've come a long way. But so have you. So have you. So I just wanted to encourage you and remind you of how far you've come. Stop doubting yourself. I looked up the definition of doubt the other day, and I almost didn't because, who don't know what the definition of doubt is? But what I didn't understand was the correlation between doubt and fear. I had no idea that those two correlated, but it does make complete and perfect sense. But we also know what the Bible says, that God did not give us a spirit of fear, but a sound mind. Like, we don't have to be afraid. If God be for you, who can be against you? So I have to remind myself sometimes to look with my sight, my spirit, my mind, and not my physical eyes. Because the things that I physically see are in the natural. What I'm shooting for is in the spirit realm. And those are the things that God has promised me. And if I ever forget those things, all I gotta do is go to the source. From Genesis to Revelations, there's a whole bunch of promises off up in there. Just saying. So anyway, as I mentioned, the point and the purpose of this video was focus on how far you've come. Remind yourself how far you've come. Don't beat yourself up. Don't beat yourself up. The world is hard enough. We have got to be kinder to ourselves. We have got to be kinder to ourselves. This negative self-talk, words have power, y'all. This whole thing was created by words. My husband said something the other day that I never quite heard before, but it was so profound. He was like, how can people not believe in God? We were watching a golf tournament, and it was where they were playing at. It was sunny and bright outside, and where we live at, it was getting dark. Like, the sun was going down. It wasn't bright and sunny. It had been a few hours prior, but it was no longer. And so he was like, how is it that people can't believe in God? You know, whenever you look at these two places, it's almost dark here and it's bright and sunny there. And I asked my son that, and he was like, well, because the sun, you know, rotates, you know, talking about basically how the sun, you know, rotates around the earth. And I'm just like, but how do those things not fall? Because earth and the sun are super heavy. He was like, well, gravity. I said, but who created gravity? And he was like, God. I said, exactly. So that debunks the whole Big Bang Theory. Like, the whole Big Bang Theory, it created gravity? That Big Bang created all the creatures on this earth. It created the earth. It created gravity. It created the solar system. Like, all these things. That Big Bang is still creating? I don't know, y'all. I'm sorry. I just don't get it. I just don't understand. I really don't. So, anyway, just wanted to tell y'all, give you some encouragement. Be nice to yourself, boo. Be nice to yourself. Love yourself. All right. I love y'all, and I will see you in another episode of Purity to Purpose YouTube channel.